Hi folks, Chris here of Strata Art Studios. Let me first start off by saying just thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you get something out of it. Today I'm demonstrating how we make jump rings. You will need some sort of mandrel to wrap your jump rings on, and as you can see here I have a drill bit, a metal knitting needle, and a piece of doweling. When I only need a couple of jump rings, I always find it easiest just to use a small mandrel, but do what's comfortable for you. When working with a drill bit, I find if you lay the end of the wire in the groove of the drill bit and then start wrapping, you're able to hold it securely with your pliers. Once you have the coil done, as you saw there, use a second pair of pliers and I finish wrapping that coil down in tight so I'm wasting as little wire as I can. When you're working with a jeweler's saw, always remember to work smoothly and with intent, because when you hurry and you're not paying attention, that's when you tend to cut yourself or break a blade. And everyone knows that a broken blade stuck in the end of your finger smarts. Make sure to always hold your jump rings as securely as you can. Right here is a good example. Once you get down to the last couple of jump rings on a coil, I'm using my flat nose pliers to hold them, both supporting them in the plier as well as against the desk. This means that things aren't sliding around and you can cut much easier. You have a bigger project that needs more jump rings? No problem. Just grab your variable speed drill and a larger mandrel and your problem solved. When you're making your coil with this type of drill, remember to do it slowly and controlled, because if you go too fast, it's easy to screw up your coil, or if an end of a wire comes around, you could hurt yourself. Instead of guessing at the length of wire that I need, what you can see here is sometimes I work with my full coil of wire, and I'm just working one end out by sliding the twist ties around and around the coil of wire until I have a length that I think is suitable. Once I have the coil re-secured with the twist ties, I'm now ready to make my coil of jump rings. So letting the coil dangle, I will grab the end, pick up the electric drill, supporting it on my lap. You feed the end of the wire into the teeth of the chuck of the drill and give it a 90-degree bend. Make sure that the end of the wire that you've bent extends far enough into the chuck that when you start to make your jump rings, it doesn't just easily pop out. I tend to like making my coils with the chuck of the drill rotating away from me. This allows me to guide the wire with my thumb and support the mandrel with my lower finger sliding my hand along. Remember, at this point, your coil is under tension, and when you cut the wire, it's going to snap forward. Now, like earlier in the video, so that you don't waste that length of wire, what you can do is lay your mandrel against a flat surface, your bench pin, anything smooth, and by giving the drill a few rotations, you can wrap that wire down tight onto the mandrel. And now that the coil is done, it's just a matter of simply removing the mandrel from the drill, sliding the coil off the mandrel, and now we're ready to cut. Now, while you watch me cut these jump rings, I have just a couple of more pieces of information for you. First, remember that if you're trying to be consistent with the size of the jump rings you're making, Always remember to use the same temper of wire every time you're making a jump ring. If you use an annealed piece of wire, you're going to get a smaller jump ring on any given mandrel than if you used something that was half hard or hard tempered. Whether you're using a found object set of mandrels or you've bought a calibrated set, always remember to keep them together so that when it comes time to make jump rings, you know where they are. Now, cutting a longer coil, I tend to support things under my bench pin, so I'm pinching the coil between my fingers, supporting my hand against the bottom of the bench pin by applying a little bit of force upward and locking myself into position. When I'm cutting jump rings, I tend to be cutting fairly vertically. This means that you're actually cutting into and through several jump rings at a time. So when you've cut through several jump rings and you're placing the loose ones down and you're going back to cut, make sure that you're getting the blade back into that groove that you've already established. Now, one more small hint to wrap up the video. When you're opening and closing your jump rings, your best bet is always to work side to side like you're seeing in the video right now. This will keep your jump ring rounder than if you grab it and try to pull it open, which I'll demonstrate at this point. Pulling a jump ring open tends to distort it more, and thus you end up with oval jump rings instead of round jump rings. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below, and I will try my hardest to get an answer for you. I really hope that you found this helpful. Please stay tuned for more. That's all. Bye for now.